Let me first introduce myself. My name is Mercy. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching me from wherever you're watching me, day or night. I welcome you. And those who do not know me, I am an ER RN, and when I'm not working in the emergency room, you'll find me doing content and also helping people get well, manage their chronic illnesses, help them with the diet, help them with exercise. I'm all into natural healing, and that's who I am. So today I'm gonna talk about my travel nursing. I started traveling at 2015, and I have just stopped traveling for this year. Things have changed, but what I wanted to discuss about today was one travel assignment that was in California, someplace near the Inglewood, and I don't want to mention the hospital name. And but I want to talk about the experience that I experienced while I was working there. So this was a poor neighborhood. My majority of the patients were African American, and yeah, I had not worked in that environment before. I was very excited to get that contract. I thought, okay, I'm serving the underserved community, I'm serving people who look like me, and I had no idea that would be the worst assignment that I ever received. Not because we used to receive gunshot wound and they'll be thrown outside the ED, or because we didn't have any enough resources. It was the way that people received me over there. That's the worst interaction I had with people who looked like me but did not talk like me. And I remember one incident. This older African American lady, I was having a really hard time, and I went to help. I wanted to start an IV on this lady, and I walked in and I introduced myself, and I told her I was gonna start an IV so we can start the blood work and get her feeling better. And that lady just looked at me and said, no, I don't want you to do that. I want you to get that. I want you to go and get me an Asian nurse because they always get my IVs. She didn't even let me look. She just shut me down. And I had a really hard time being part of that community. No matter what I did, every time I would go and help out the patients, they would always mention or always remind me that this is the first time I had this. Those who do not know me, or those who know me, they know I was born in Kenya in Africa, and I came here for school, and then I became a nurse. First I was going to computer school, finished that, then I became a nurse when I met my husband. So anyway, we were under the British colony, and we went to school, and as soon as we went to school, our first what we were taught is English. English is our second language. Our first language is the dialect we talk at home. Mine is Kikuyu. So as soon as you enter kindergarten, or whatever age that is, 4 years old, you are taught in English. And then after that, you learn another language, national language, Kiswahili or Swahili, so that we can all communicate if we don't speak English, for those people who don't speak English. So my experience in this country was I was let down by my people who look like me. And I remember one time, or many times, these ladies would be saying that I speak proper, which I didn't even understand what that means. Not coming from this culture, had no idea what she was talking about. And I had this social worker that I used to work with, and I would ask her, Jackie, what does that even mean that I'm speaking proper? And she told me, because you're not speaking, what's that language that I forget the name that she mentioned, the language that African American speak. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't speak it because I never learned it. I'm not from this country. I've only learned my 3 other languages that I speak, and English is all that we speak in my country. So she would say that, she would tell me that the African American, when they told me I'm speaking proper, they thought I was um, being, I thought that I was better than them or something like that. But what I want to tell you is we were colonized by the British. When I speak probably using a dialect from the British because they're the ones who colonized us. They brought their education to us. My dad was a slave. They took him away from our family and took him to Burma. I think that was a country, and I think now it's Myanmar. And he was there for many years. My mom had to take care of my three siblings who were born in the 50s, because I'm talking about the 50s. We did have colonization in the 50s. Our country became independent in the 1963, my country being Kenya. So I know that we've learned, I was told that, I know like one time my mom was carrying my brother in the back of her, we carried the babies in our backs, and the British were attacking my mom and beating her and broke my brother's leg and he was probably 6 months old. So that is our history. I do know the African American history because I was taught that when I was growing up. The African American or the people from other countries, I don't know if they learned about the African struggle, the Mau Mau, how we got our independence. So eventually, my dad was able to come home. I don't know how. They never spoke about it. It's not something we ever sat around dinner and talked about what he encountered out there in the camp. But he eventually had to come back home, and I believe he worked with the Mau Mau to help us get the independence that we needed. And after we drove the British people away, eventually he came back and he had to take a loan from the cooperative. It was called the Cooperative Society of Kenya, and he was granted a loan, and he bought a 20-acre farm, and that's where I grew up. I grew up on a farm, eating food from the farm and milking our cows and eating chicken from the farm and going to school under British, because they were not there. They had already instilled that British education, and Kenya had embraced it. They came and took away our culture, our clothing, and everything. They came with a Bible, holding a Bible, to bring Christianity to our country, and yet they took and everything else, like my grandfather, and that, the prayers they used to pray under a tree and sacrifice, that was seen as what do we call it? It was not good enough. So they brought the Bible and took away our culture. So it was very hurtful when I was working with African American people and they would call me proper. I don't know any other way of life. That's how I was brought up as young as, however old I was. That's the language I learned. I learned English. I learned my mother tongue, then I learned English and Swahili in order to survive. My parents they worked very hard. We didn't have any equipment. We didn't have any tractors. My mom and dad did everything that needed to be done. And my older siblings, thank God I was the youngest. So the older siblings all pitched in to make this work. So, so when I felt rejected by that culture in Inglewood, California, I couldn't understand why. You look like me, but we don't talk the same, but you look like me. And I was so happy to go and serve that community, but I couldn't wait for that contract to end. And even to date, even if you would pay me so much money, I'll never go back there, because we can be receiving the racism that everybody talks about from the white people. And actually, I would say the white people have treated me much better. And I can take the racism from them more than I could take from the African American culture. St. Hela was the name of that place I was. It was not a good experience for me. And all I was just saying is, we've had our own struggles whichever, in different ways we've had our own struggles, whether is the colonization, whether it's the racism and everything that everybody experienced. We experience it in a different way. But when you inflict it on your own human being, what else, how else can you justify that? And they were the older women, actually. They were the ones who were very nasty to me. And I carry that to date. And that was in 2016. I've never forgotten that experience. And yeah, so what's worse, that or going to Sacramento, another big hospital, 660 bed, and I remember every 1 hour I was getting a new patient. Like, you couldn't keep up. Every 1 hour you got a new patient. Every time you walk into the room, you're thinking you're going to check on the other patient you took care of. You have a new patient. And I remember one time I was taking care of this patient. He was in the hallway. He was a white older gentleman, but his problem was he was probably 500 pounds, like a really big guy. And the hospital, even with 660 beds, and the ER was 70 ER beds, healthcare is broken. And there was nowhere for him to, he didn't have a bed. There was nowhere for him to be other in the hallway. And I remember he was so angry, and he was using the N-word with me. And I remember at one point he wanted me to help him go to the bathroom, and there was no way. He couldn't stand up. He was helpless. So I'm the giver, I'm the helper, I'm the one who's trying to make him comfortable, yet he's calling me the N-word. But I remember that situation. Anybody would have been frustrated sitting in the hallway that big, helpless, and not able to get up and use the bathroom. But instead of being gracious and grateful, that was two, like, almost back-to-back kind of experience that I experienced, the racism. And I can understand where he was coming from. It was embarrassing for him, degrading for him. When we put patients in the hallway, it's so degrading, but what can we do? The system is broken. And he took it out on me because of the situation, or whatever. He could have been racist. I'm not gonna sit here and justify why he did what he did or said what he said. But those two experiences, or many other experiences that I've encountered, and the white people would call me the N-word, none of them hurt like the way the African American women, they were not men. The men were not that vicious and mean. It was the African American older women that treated me in a different way that I will never forget. Anyway, so what my thought about that situation is, when you meet somebody, just try to understand why, what's going on in their life, why they're acting the way they're acting. I wasn't acting any different. I wasn't being rude. I was just being me, and this is who I am. This is how I take care of my patients. I'm very gentle. I'm very loving. I'm very kind. I don't put people down, even if I couldn't understand most of the time when they were talking to me, because I did not speak. God knows, I wish I can remember the slang name that the African American use. I still respected them, but just wanted to say that we should always treat people equally, treat people with respect, just be kind, especially somebody who's trying to help you, and you need them. We need each other. No need of tearing each other down because I look a certain way, I speak a certain way. So yes, as soon as I have an accent, whether it's this or that, there's always going to be something. But I'm just an ER nurse, just trying to keep you alive, keep you comfortable, and that's what I do every single day. Anyway, be kind. We are fighting different battles, and we need each other. Have a wonderful day. Please follow me if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, and let me know you're watching me, you're enjoying my content. I can't tell how I'm doing if you don't comment on my content. And thank you for those people who are watching me, those people who are liking my content. But please speak with me, write something to me so that I know you're watching. Have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget to take care of yourself, whichever way, walking, sleeping, eating healthy, whatever makes you feel better. whatever gives you energy, please do that. Take care. Bye. Mercy out.